Before we start, this story contains adult language and concepts. Was the dress on or off? How did she get the bruise? Did she find the chocolates in the kitchenette or on someone's desk? Did she have a panic attack in the morning or the afternoon? Brittany Higgins has been cross-examined in the federal court about her recollections of the events surrounding the night in March 2019 she says she was raped by a fellow political staffer, Bruce Lehrmann. Counsel for Lehrmann, Steve Whybrow, repeatedly put it to Higgins she had been changing her story ever since by finding inconsistencies in the accounts she's given to police, journalists and in court evidence. We've used voice actors to bring you the words spoken in court.
You gave evidence at the criminal trial.
That's correct.
And you understood at that point that they were serious proceedings.
Yes.
And you had an obligation to tell the truth.
Absolutely.
And not guess or speculate.
I admit I wasn't always correct, and I did speculate to an extent, and I acknowledge that I got things wrong, but yes, I did my best.
You understand that your obligation is to tell the truth?
I thought I was telling the truth. I was just not always correct, but I was always doing my best.
Well, you accept that you were wrong about some significant matters.
I accept that, absolutely.
In an exchange about the account she'd given to police in the days after the alleged assault, Whybrow cut to the chase. The defence case is that Higgins fabricated the whole story of being raped because she was scared of losing her job after she saw Bruce Lehrmann get sacked for entering Parliament House after hours. Higgins told the police and her friend Ben Dillaway she had gone to a doctor after the assault. She also told her boss, Fiona Brown, she needed a day off to see a doctor.
Miss Higgins, you told those police officers you'd gone to a doctor and had tests done.
That was incorrect, and I've owned that.
What's incorrect? That you told them that?
No, that I went to a doctor. I 100% acknowledge that. That is a lie, and I know that I just wasn't coping at the time, and I wanted to say the things that people wanted to hear. I wasn't looking after myself. I hadn't gone to a doctor. I didn't do it, and I know that, and I've admitted to that to the police and to the criminal trial, and now I admit that.
You've just said that it was a lie that you told the police. You knew it was not true at the time you said it.
Yes, it wasn't on record, but it was wrong and it was incorrect.
You saw police officers taking notes of this conversation?
I did.
You wanted to keep your job?
Of course I wanted to keep my job.
And had passed out naked in the Defence Industry Minister's suite and were found overnight?
That's correct.
And you didn't have sex with anybody that night you passed out drunk in the Minister's personal suite? That's correct, isn't it?
It's insulting and it's incorrect, but you're entitled to your opinion.
It's not my opinion.
The judge stepped in at this point to say it wasn't Wybrow's opinion, that he had a duty to put these propositions to Higgins.
You accept that you did not say anything at work to anybody, or even to Mr. Dillaway, until you'd left the meeting with Miss Brown on the Tuesday?
Yeah, it took me 4 days to report it to someone.
And that was at the moment you were concerned about your job being at risk?
My job is not that important. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't. I would never do that.
After this exchange, Higgins became upset and sobbed in the witness box. Counsel for 10, Matt Collins, said he was concerned for her welfare, and the court took a 10-minute break. Higgins is a witness for the defence in Lehrmann's defamation action against Network 10 and Lisa Wilkinson. Lehrmann, who was always denied ever having any sexual contact with Brittany Higgins, was charged with rape but not convicted. That trial in the ACT Supreme Court was aborted because of juror misconduct. A member of the jury brought research material into the jury room, and after the trial was aborted, the prosecutor said he wouldn't take it to trial again because Brittany Higgins' mental health was too fragile to put her through the ordeal of another hearing. However, Higgins said she'd give evidence for any media outlet Lehrmann sued, and that's how she's found herself once again giving evidence. On Wednesday, during her evidence in chief under friendly questioning by 10's barrister Matt Collins, Higgins told tearfully of stepping into Canberra's big drinking, big noting work culture and quickly coming to the attention of another ambitious young Liberal, Lehrmann. She said the first time the pair met at a work drinks event, he took her phone and playfully stopped her from leaving. 2 weeks later, he tried to kiss her, leaving them both embarrassed. And a week after that, Miss Higgins said he got her drunk, took her back to Parliament House and took advantage of her drunkenness to have sex with her while she was asleep or unconscious. In a recorded pre-interview conversation with Lisa Wilkinson and producer Angus Llewellyn, Higgins told them Lehrmann must have removed her underwear before raping her. The truth was, she wasn't wearing underwear. Here's what she told the court on Thursday.
I was too embarrassed to admit that I wasn't wearing underwear that night.
Well, it was a lie, wasn't it?
Yes.
Later, she asked to say this.
Can I correct the record really quickly on one thing? I said that I lied about the underwear, but I just want to make clear that in the interview I told the truth that I wasn't wearing underwear. To the police, I told the truth that I didn't wear the underwear. In the criminal proceedings, I told the truth that I didn't wear the underwear. It was in one conversation in passing where I had a lie of omission, and I completely hold my hands up to that.
The judge jumped in at this point, saying this wasn't a response to a question, and counsel for Network 10 would be able to ask her more questions in re-examination if necessary. In her evidence in chief, Higgins said upon waking up in the minister's office after the alleged rape, she devoured a box of chocolates. Under cross-examination, she admitted to Steve Whybrow she wasn't sure whether she found the chocolates in the kitchenette, as she had said in her earlier evidence, or somewhere else in the office. Higgins also agreed with Whybrow she'd claimed to have been wearing her dress, hitched around her waist, when she was raped, but she accepted that a security guard who came into the office had seen her naked on the sofa, and said she had never tried to mislead anyone. In her earlier evidence, Higgins also said about a week after the assault, she went into a bathroom and took a photo of a bruise on her leg, because she thought she might need to corroborate her story with more evidence. In a statutory declaration and in evidence at the criminal trial, she said the bruise occurred during the rape. In this trial, in earlier evidence, she said she thought the bruise had come from the assault when Lehrmann lay on top of her on the couch, but she also said it could have been caused by a drunken stumble up some stairs earlier in the evening. Here's Steve Whybrow questioning her on Thursday. We've used voice actors.
You accept that that's a different answer to what you declared on the 10th of February 2021.
At the time, I believed it was caused by the assault, but with hindsight, I've now had to accept that it may not have necessarily come from the assault itself. It may have come from me falling up the stairs, but I accepted that during the criminal trial. But at the time, I was 100% sold. I thought it was because I was in pain when he was raping me. But because of the criminal trial, I've had to accept that I don't 100% know it was from the assault. It could have been falling up the stairs, so that's where I'm at.
At the criminal trial, it was suggested to you that that photograph was a recent invention when you went to see Channel 10?
That's incorrect.
It was put to you that there was no reference in your phone records of a bruise.
It was put to me, but I do not accept it.
What I want to suggest to you, Miss Higgins, is that as you find out further information, you adapt and evolve your narrative to fit the new information. Do you agree?
No, but I accept where I'm wrong and I try to apply it in every weird circumstance I end up in to give the most honest answer I can.
In the criminal trial, Higgins initially said she had a panic attack on the day of her former boss Steve Chobo's valedictory speech in Parliament, but then said, in fact, she might have been wrong about that and the panic attack was on another day. But in her evidence in this trial, she insisted the panic attack was on the day of the speech, and she was sure of that because she recalled missing the start of the speech.
I wrongly accepted during cross-examination during the criminal trial that I didn't have a panic attack on that day. I now know that I did. And I remember that was why I missed sitting in the box. Last time I thought maybe I got it wrong, but on further reflection I realised that I was just overwhelmed during the criminal trial and I misspoke. It definitely happened that day, and I just kind of got bamboozled.
And then Whybrow went through exactly the same process as at the criminal trial, putting to Higgins her own text messages, which indicated she did, in fact, attend the speech.
What is the true answer? Not what you believe. What do you know? Or if you can't remember, please say so.
I don't specifically recall now. I'm trying.
After a lengthy series of questions, Higgins eventually agreed she had got it wrong.
You did not miss the start because you were having a panic attack?
I know it happened during that day, but that's correct. Once again, I don't want to get bamboozled like I did in the criminal case. I'm not exactly sure when during the day it happened, but it happened that day.
You want a third go at why and when you were having an anxiety attack on that day?
I can't remember every moment of every day. I'm doing my best here, and I know what happened during that day.
Just so it's clear, I'm suggesting to you that you alter and evolve your evidence as you find out extra information. Do you accept that?
No, it's just when something's put to me that's clear. I don't refute that clearly. This is this timeline, and I can understand that memory is imperfect, and those 4 things happened during that day.
Coming up, why Brittany Higgins believes politicians wanted her story to go away. Brittany Higgins has said she only decided to go to the media with her story because she believed the then coalition government had made her feel that her experience was a political problem. She said after Lehrmann was sacked for entering the building after hours, she told her boss, then Minister Linda Reynolds, and Reynolds' Chief of Staff Fiona Brown, that he'd raped her. And although they took her to the police unit in Parliament's basement and apologised to her, Brittany Higgins said in evidence she felt the allegations were regarded as a political problem and she dropped her police complaint. She came to consider the coalition government did nothing to help her and went public on Tens the Project in 2021 with her account of the rape and her claim the whole thing had been brushed under the carpet. After Scott Morrison's surprise win at the 2019 election, Higgins was working in the office of another federal minister, Michaelia Cash. In October, 7 months after the alleged rape, Cash's Chief of Staff, Daniel Try, told Higgins a journalist had contacted the government asking about it.
He said there's been a media inquiry about an alleged sexual assault that occurred in Senator Reynolds' office in March of 2019, and that someone from Senator Reynolds' office was going to come to speak to us about it. And he said, "Oh God, I'm really sorry." He was very bumbling and polite about it.
What did you say?
I was immediately very upset by the thought of it getting out at that time.
This was happening in the context of Brittany Higgins feeling, as she's described it in the witness box, that nobody wanted her to talk about the sexual assault. Try went and told their boss, Michaelia Cash, the flamboyant West Australian senator.
Immediately, Michaelia Cash embraced me in a hug. She was just reassuring me. She said words to the effect that everything would be okay.
What was the substance of the meeting with Minister Cash and Mr. Try?
That they would handle it.
Did they say what they meant by they would handle it?
They would make the media inquiry go away.
And what did you say?
I said thank you.
Higgins said no story was ever published and she was aware the media inquiry raised red flags with other people, although barrister for Lehrmann, Steve Whybrow, objected to that answer. She then heard from police that the staff of AFP Commissioner Reece Kershaw believed the Commissioner may be asked about the allegation at Senate estimates and were preparing to put it in the Commissioner's briefing pack for the hearing to ensure he was prepared.
I immediately called Daniel Try and let him know. I said I'd received a call, I was really upset and I wanted to let him know because I was really scared.
What did he say?
I think he said thank you for letting him know and he would handle it.
Higgins said she then got a message from Michaelia Cash. This is the real audio of that message, which has previously been published outside the courtroom.
Brittany, Michaelia, just checking up on you. You look absolutely gorgeous on Saturday. I really hope you had a lovely time at the Federal Council. Hoping everything's okay. Look, Daniel's got everything under control, I promise you. And just remember, we're with you every step of the way, okay? Sleep tight. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Higgins described events she perceived as curious the following Monday morning.
The Senator Daniel Try and they took me off-site from Parliament House, which was strange during a sitting week, particularly the Senate estimate sitting week. We went to Master Builders ACT and did like a meet and greet, which is really odd. And we went there all morning while that session of Reece Kershaw, the AFP Commissioner, was doing his Senate estimates, and then we came back once he finished his time in the Senate.
Higgins said when they returned, Daniel Try told her the issue hadn't come up at estimates and said she could return to her duties. She decided to resign from Michaelia Cash's office, reactivate her police complaint and go public with her claim. And once she'd begun talking to journalists, she heard Lehrmann was going to deny any sexual contact.
I said something like, "Oh God, you made my weekend." I was really concerned that he was going to say it was consensual sex.
Just explain what was going through your mind as you heard for the first time that Mr. Lehrmann's position was that he had not had any sexual contact.
I was really relieved. I thought we were going to have this very nuanced debate about consent and alcohol. I was really shocked and kind of happy at the time that he was saying nothing had happened because, to my mind, it was so preposterous.